Issue 38. Porker says in the base that Eggman and his robots have him surrounded, and Sonic is genre savvy, reminding him that there's nothing to worry about. The ceiling cracks, and Knuckles drops out of it out of nowhere because even though he was on Angel Island last time we saw him and was busy there not concerning himself with Sonic's war, he decided to come here anyways. He breaks the glass of the mecha, with Sonic insisting that it's only because he weakened it while self-conscious, and he uses his spin attack to send Eggman out of the mecha, being insulted by Knuckles as he lampshades that he doesn't need to be told how to fight. Eggman sends some badniks after them. Knuckles digs away out by punching, and says that he thinks the odds are against them down there and they need some space. Sonic and Knuckles attack the robots that burst out of the ground, and Kinto Boy humorously says, "Will somebody please tell me what's going on? I can't see a thing now that you got my data dumped on this thing." They should have put out that after now, but I like this. It reminds me of Nicole, who when Treasure Team Tango asked Amy what was going on because she only knew that there was an increasing temperature around her when there was fire around her. A tank of robots show up as Eggman sends for reinforcements, and Sonic and Knuckles show rivalry once again, taunting each other. Eggman gets away again because his robots covered his escape, and Sonic lampshades that Knuckles said he had no interest in fighting Eggman. Knuckles explains that he felt bad about how Eggman discovered their base because of him and felt it was his duty. That's sweet! I'm surprised. And Sonic says he doesn't need anybody's help, with Johnny telling him, "Sonic, for goodness sake, don't start that again." Yeah, you're ruining the moment. Knuckles says pragmatically that he'll keep the Eggmobile left behind for himself as it might come in handy. With everyone reunited in a caravan, some robots question them at a roadblock about where Sonic is, and I guess they're programmed badly since the heroes wearing disguises fools them, even though facial recognition technology can get pretty advanced. And the story ends with Sonic, I guess, saying, "I don't know which is worse, being forced out of our secret base or having to look at Johnny wearing that ridiculous mustache," with Johnny insisting out of nowhere that it makes him look distinguished. In the next story, Tails is told to distract the main robot while the flock is breaking down the barrier, and Tails for some reason forgot how to use the microcomputer to shut a security door. How? It's a voice command. It's literally the simplest, most intuitive design ever. Although I guess I could forgive Tails if his problem is that he forgot what exactly to say to it and assumed that it wouldn't be as simple as it is. Fortunately, this isn't. Fortunately, he then closes the door successfully on the robot bearing down on him, but then opens again for some reason. And Tails says that his panicked phrasing had confused the microcomputer as the door is opening again. I think what's happening here is that Tails told it to close the door multiple times in a panic. And it's also funny how it's mimicking him saying "jolly well" for the third time. This is the most humorous the Tails stories have gotten so far. I have the biggest smile on my face at this point. But once again, Tails only wins from dumb luck, because the door was closing on the robot and reduced into a head with convenient wheels, making it retreat. Granted, it's interesting seeing him succeed like this, but would it kill them to let Tails do something incompetent intentionally for once? That isn't just him flying? They're trying to give me the impression that flying is literally the only thing he can do well. Tails returns to the flock who have destroyed the robots, and he's told that Nutsin's explosions destroyed the construction robots and melted the metal around the hole and sealed it. And Tails decides not to tell them what happened to Nutsin because they'll just give him all the credit for an accident yet again. And he's smart enough to realize that'll just bring him even more trouble as they try to rely on him again. I guess he's worried that eventually his luck will run out. Sab says they'll fix his microcomputer and mend his coat, and they'll be waiting for him when he visits the chemical plant again. Tails says that it was the security door that defeated the robot. Again, he's dismissed as lying, and he fails to learn from the past as he assumes Sonic will believe him about all this when the jerk didn't even believe him about defeating a few badniks. How worthless does he think he is? And he promptly answers that by calling him Pixel Brain right away and saying that he was just playing, which makes Tails sigh. It's ridiculous that Tails will never snap at this and start to hate him. Not even at the end of the comic. This comic should have way more instances of Tails and Sonic fighting than Archie's measly one. The first story was by Nigel Kitchen, and was about Knuckles saving the day fighting alongside Sonic because he actually felt guilty about how he's responsible for their base being destroyed. I guess it was only a matter of time before Kintabor's old lab got ruined. But Knuckles was last seen on the floating island, so it must be pretty close by for him to already be here. The story ends with the freedom fighters, including Kintabores, trapped in a ring unable to see, like Nicole, forced to travel in a caravan dressed up like a traveling circus to trick the robots. Well, that's creative. And the next story is about Tails defeating the main robot because his door hacking device got confused into opening and closing on it multiple times when Tails told it to do so multiple times in a panic. Him bumbling his way into victory would be a novel concept compared to just being clever, but again, I hate how nobody ever believes that he's done it by accident. Those stupid idiots, why would they not believe him? It just gives off the message that only idiots would respect Tails and is an admirable hero in his own right. I don't know which is worse, that being an insufferable genius Gary Stu under Ken Pontac, or this, so who am I kidding, I prefer this. At least here I actually sympathize with him. With a verbally and psychologically abusive big brother like Sonic, that kid's a disaster waiting to happen, being dismissed as an idiot all the time. He is humble, and for a very good reason. It would be great if this kind of twisted brotherly relationship was building up to something where the friendship eventually gets challenged as Tails calls him out on his bullying, which feels like the entire comic is building up to that. But that would be good writing, so we can't have that. That would be taking Sonic's funny jerkness seriously and portraying it as having realistic consequences, which wouldn't be lighthearted enough for the little kiddies. This is why forced lightheartedness fails.